I had a good run of 2 episodes without a gigantic intro featuring a Baywatch behind-the-scenes info dump, but no more! I've got 2 scripts for this episode, and oh, the things I've learned. But first, welcome back to Bridget, and farewell to Bridget! We also have a rare, substantial role for Cheryl, featuring a new hairstyle, and the return of various bit players from other random episodes along the way. And, unfortunately, this is also the return of Jeff Altman as Ed Symes. Thankfully, we only have to hold back our bile for 1 more episode with him before our long national nightmare is over. Anywho, one of the 2 scripts I have is actually incredibly interesting, since it's a first draft teleplay. So it's got the bones of the final episode, but it differs in a lot of notable ways. Before I can explain the most intriguing parts, however, I gotta introduce you to Baywatch's newest main character. So folks, here's Jesse Owens. Yes, like the track guy. I'll get into it later. Sometimes Jessie spells her name with an I, and sometimes not, depending on if she's in California or Hawaii. In keeping with Season 9's motto of, "Get in on the action," Jessie is introduced as a wannabe stunt woman. She demonstrates her potential as a lifeguard when she ends up anonymously rescuing several beachgoers as the Phantom Lifeguard.
Maybe it was JD's Phantom Lifeguard. I think I found out who the Phantom Lifeguard is. It's Jessie.
She's not to be confused with the other Phantom Lifeguard, who was more of a literal phantom, and truthfully, a far more compelling character.
Maybe we have ourselves a Phantom Lifeguard.
The Phantom Lifeguard?
Yeah, that's what we're calling him.
Before Jessie becomes a non-Phantom Lifeguard, she's brought on as Baywatch's sexy janitor. You know how lifeguards always have sexy janitors? Well, they did this because they needed some excuse for our heroes to interact with her before, revealing that she's the Phantom Lifeguard. They didn't feature anything about her being a janitor in the first draft, though, because she was originally intended to be Neely's sister. Yeah, I know. First we find out that Neely was going to be a regular on Baywatch nights, then there's the Season 9 wedding retcon, and now this. Gina Lee Nolan left the show, and suddenly it's the golden age of Neely lore. Now, true Neely acolytes will know that Neely previously mentioned having a sister in the Season 7 episode Golden Girls. But that's clearly a different sister, as she's described as a dark-haired, manic-depressive musician and also dead. So I guess she had 2 sisters, although neither of them were present in her flashback with her dad. In the first draft of The Natural, Cody is surprised Neely has a sister at all, so I guess she never bothered mentioning either of them to her friends up until now. To further add to the confusion of things, I'm not certain how this Neely stuff was intended to play out and with which actress. The first draft is dated about a week after the last episode of Season 8 aired, and Mitch and Neely are definitely not a couple anymore. Neely is no longer living with Mitch, although, strangely, Ashley is never seen or mentioned. I guess I should apologize to Michael Burke for saying they only broke them up because Gina Lee Nolan left, because I feel like at this point they still thought they could get her back. But I still don't believe there was a test audience who cared about Mitch being married or not. Sorry. But then again, it's possible they did know they couldn't get Nolan back this early on, and they were scripting this for Threely. They do seem to hint that Threely will be around all season and causing trouble, only for her to inexplicably disappear until her unceremonious exit. I don't know if they couldn't get Jennifer Campbell to guest star as often as they wanted, or if they simply changed their minds. In any case, this is clearly post-retcon, as they allude to Mitch and Neely's failed marriage. "Weren't you married to that babe?" Mitch, not wanting to get into it.
"In a sense."
"You were?"
"Yes, no, it's a long story."
They don't get any deeper into what this long story is. So it's also not clear if they had an idea in mind for how they were going to end this marriage. Neely isn't quite as evil as she was in the Season 9 opener, although she does show a bit of an ugly side, so she may or may not still be slightly evil. She takes credit for each of Jesse's anonymous rescues, as they occurred when Neely was supposed to be on duty. In fact, that's Jesse's original motivation for keeping her safe secret, to cover for her sister. Neely is furious when she finds out because she's jealous of Jesse. Jesse's always been good at everything, as opposed to Neely, who's always been good at being bad. I can't say whether it's to the show's benefit or detriment that they didn't pull a Stephanie and Caroline with Neely and Jesse, only that I miss Gina Lee Nolan, and it makes me sad that she's not in this season. Neely isn't the only character they had to write out of the story. Hilariously, it appears they did a copy-paste to get rid of Hobie in this script, as there's at least 2 instances where Mitch and Cody refer to each other as father and son. I mean, I'm assuming Hobie was hastily written out. It's either that, or writer Sherry Ziff was tremendously confused as to what Cody and Mitch's relationship was. Or there was an abandoned Mitch adopts Cody storyline.
Want some advice, Ed? Stay off my dad's case today. The girl who kamikazed off the bathroom roof. My son told me all about you.
That lifeguard is Cody?
Sure is. I love my dumb son, Cody. I'm gonna be in Olympics, Dad. Shut up.
There's quite a bit of other differences in this script versus the episode. For instance, Bridget, Cheryl, and JD are not present. Alex is also named Sydney, but the cover page lists her as Sydney/Alex, so they'd already intended to rename her. Mitch is pissed at Sydney/Alex for pointing out things like JD can't be scheduled for 2 jobs in the same time slot, and essential supplies are running out. Ugh, women, am I right? I'm not sure why they wrote the evil rival lifeguard lady as competent and reasonable, then expected us to side with Mitch as he angrily tells her to fuck off and let all of their supplies run out. But okay. I guess he accidentally helps her by pairing her up with Ed, who you may recall is a medical supply salesman, thus inadvertently saving them from looking like unprofessional jackasses. Thankfully, the final episode spared us from the montage where Ed fantasizes about Sydney/Alex in a string bikini. Close up on her full, glossy lips, a la Ally McBeal. Yes, this aired at the same time as Ally McBeal. Insane when we're reminded that, other real shows were on television alongside whatever the hell Baywatch is at this point. And man, this script features, way more of Ed Symes, doing his usual shtick and rambling some unfunny bullshit for 8,000 years. And it already feels endless in the final episode. So imagine that, but more. He did have a bigger plot, though, of which you can still see some remnants. In the first draft, he mentions enlisting as a volunteer lifeguard, which is why he continually tries to help and ends up accidentally shocking Mitch with a defibrillator. In the final episode, he just does this because he's dumb. If I had remembered this happened while I was talking about that unproduced Baywatch Nights episode where Mitch is also shocked unconscious by a defibrillator, I would have used this footage and saved myself some editing time. But alas. Anywho, Script Ed ends up saving someone's life using his volunteer lifeguard knowledge, and Mitch has to eat shit and apologize to him. In the episode, the audience just has to suffer through Jeff Altman scenes which have no point, because they cut out this volunteer lifeguard thing and the thing about the supplies running out, which was the main reason to include him here. And the intended laughs sure as hell will never come. Enough of this! Let's goof on the episode! A drowning surfer is rescued by the Phantom Lifeguard? You're welcome. Off to my wife, CJ. Yo, who was that handsome guy? Wait up, you could be a Calvin Klein underwear model. Mitch calls a lifeguard meeting and mentions El Nino being up to some shenanigans. It seemed to me that El Nino was getting a lot more mentions than usual on Baywatch, and it turns out there's a reason for that. As has been pointed out to me, apparently 1997 to 1998 was one of the most powerful El Nino events in history. Thus, when Mitch was screaming to the heavens and challenging Poseidon himself to drag him into the ocean's briny depths, it was because El Nino truly was a force to be reckoned with. This also tied into the reason the plane crashed in that episode, meaning technically the cold open had an extremely tenuous relevance to the rest of the story. And lest we forget, El Nino was also a key plot point in Season 8's critically lauded smash hit episode, El Nino.
El Nino is Spanish for the Nino.
Yes, on Baywatch, you can learn about events of historical significance from this time period and enjoy porn-perpendicular storylines. Say, who's that smoke show of a janitor over there? Hello?
Hey, everybody.
Hello, Jessica.
This is funny for some reason. I don't know.
I wonder who our Phantom Lifeguard could be. Surely this girl Alex stopped the scene to introduce has no importance whatsoever. Anyway, man, Baywatch is really returning to the classics. I don't think they've had a maintenance person at Baywatch since the Guido era. Remember Guido? He sucked ass, but after all of the Jeff Altman exposure, I'm missing the days where we just had to deal with ethnic stereotyping. Speaking of Jeff Altman,
I have some complimentary thermometers for all of you.
Thanks.
And you'll notice my email address is right here on the back. I thought maybe you and I could log on together some night, sweetheart.
I know every single role of Jeff Altman's has been entirely based around annoyance and misogyny, but you could at least have the material be funny, or entertaining, or watchable. I do think it's interesting to pair him up with Bridget here, a character who has a low tolerance for life in general and appears to want to snap him in half.
This leg is gorgeous, but for the purpose of this demonstration is broken. You with me?
Your hands. Take them off my leg or they're broken.
Hey, who's being a misogynist over here without me?
Alright, so remember how Alex was introduced as an evil rival who did illegal things that endangered people? And then she was hired onto Baywatch and they set it up like she and Mitch were going to fight and stuff, and then the episode right after they forgot all of that and they were friends? Well, this episode was probably filmed before that, because now they remembered that there was supposed to be some tension or something. I don't think they ever really circle back to the fact she was evil, which seems weird to not reckon with. Like an opposite Neely situation. Mitch is annoyed that she wants actual assignments and stuff. So what better way to get the woman to shut the hell up than make her deal with the embodiment of an incel chat room? Haha, Mitch is a cruel, cruel man.
Hey, Sugar Plum, why don't you hop on in and take a ride with Daddy here?
Big Daddy?
The longer the show goes, the worse I become!
No wedding ring. Guess you must be flying solo, huh? What a waste of a beautiful woman. Hey, what are all these little switches over here like this one?
Just look. Those are my pockets. Go put your hands right here.
Hi, sweet cakes. And then
Okay.
just come around here.
That's good.
Hi, Lamb Chop. Ready to rock and roll? Come to Papa, sweet cheeks. You know, Mitch, I saw a guy on the beach once and he was all blowed up. They thought it was a bee sting. Turns out it was just gas. He'd been eating salami.
Do you hear? That is the sound of ultimate suffering.
Meanwhile, we find out Jesse was named after the athlete Jesse Owens.
Jesse Owens? Any relation to the original?
Actually, my dad was a track and field nut. And Jesse Owens was his hero.
Jesse Owens, the athlete, was considered one of the greatest in track and field history, widely known for winning 4 gold medals in the 1936 Olympics. As a black man dominating in an event held in Nazi Germany, his victory destroyed Hitler's bullshit about white supremacy. This, in turn, paved the way for the destruction of further racial barriers, creating a legacy for Owens that extended far beyond his impressive athletic career. Why Baywatch decided to name the white, blonde, sexy stunt lady lifeguard after him, I'm not sure. I'm also not sure why they rewrote her to be shy in order to explain why she doesn't take credit for her rescues, but then had her play her scenes as confident and forward, and also everything is funny for some reason.
So, how does a girl like you become a,
Janitor?
But, uh-oh, Jessie is a klutz. She's always messing things up. Except for when she practices stunts. Then she knows what she's doing. In the first draft script, when she does this jump off a pier, she's wearing a sexy cat suit. I'm sure they meant like a cat burglar, but I like to imagine she was actually wearing a cat costume.
I'm putting my reel together. I'm training to be a stunt woman.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah!
Yeah, except it's illegal to jump off the pier.
Well, you guys aren't gonna tell on me, are you?
Well, without the threat of Bay God, we're free to be as irresponsible as we want again, so sure. I with evil Cody.
Going back to Jessie's introduction, I find myself missing her initial characterization more and more. We love a girl who goes full glam makeup before setting herself on fire. And, might I say, Brooke Burns is a badass for actually doing this fire stunt. Unfortunately, klutzy, goofy stunt Jessie is very short-lived, replaced by, I don't know, nothing. The most personality she gets later on is when she's kicked in the face.
You mean Jessie was the Phantom Lifeguard all along? I don't mind that she's taking credit for my work. Stealing CJ from Cody was its own reward.
You gotta love Jessie fantasizing about making out with JD's abs in the shower, as if this wasn't within the realm of possibility if she just told him she'd suffered something traumatic recently. Later on, Jessie accidentally knocks a bottle of detergent into the laundry and causes a comical soap incident. But in the first draft, it's JD who unknowingly knocks the detergent over when his locker is stuck. This not only changes who was at fault, and makes JD seem like a total asshole for letting Jessie get fired over his mistake, but it also makes you wonder how he pulled that off when Jessie closed the washer before she left. Anyway, I do enjoy Caddy, Bridget, and Cheryl. They are having none of this Jessie janitor nonsense. Aw man, she shrunk their bathing suits! Speaking of Cheryl, she gets her own scene. Big day for Cheryl fans. She spots a possible heart attack on the beach and calls in for backup. In the script, it was Numi in this scene, but I think we can agree that he was a big enough guy that he didn't mind sharing the spotlight with another real-life lifeguard hero. It turns out the guy was just having a cramp, and then Mitch dies.
Clear! No, 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 no!
Living people have pulses. Dead people have no pulse. Uh-oh.
What do you want to do about it?
JD, Cody, and a newly resurrected Mitch are dying to know who this Phantom Lifeguard is. Not only are they stealing all of their saves, but they just don't make any sense.
Maybe it's the next lifeguard doesn't want to show us up.
Yeah, I don't know too many lifeguards past the president would avoid taking credit for a rescue.
If you don't get credit for saving a life, what's even the point?
As the one competent person here, Alex is able to put together that Jessie is the Phantom Lifeguard in question. She realizes this during the scene where she's firing her for being a bad janitor. But apparently, she thinks she'd be a better fit if people's lives were in her hands. Meanwhile, Kerr Smith is here, playing a random frat guy who buries his buddy in a sinkhole.
I'm not kidding, I'm sinking! Help!
Oh, this looks like a job for a disgraced janitor. Not so fast! You've stolen your last save, Missy! There, I did something. It counts as mine!
You saved my life. Thank you.
We all did.
Mitch pats Jessie on the back. Then they high-five. Mitch watches her in amazement.
He is a she.
End Act 4.
Why did you disappear after all the rescues?
I don't know. I guess I just didn't want anybody to make a big deal out of it. I don't really like a lot of attention. I'm more of a background kind of girl.
Well, Jesse met with a big-time stunt coordinator, but he turned out to be a sleazy creep. So I guess that makes it easy to get her to be a lifeguard. Meanwhile, earlier in the episode, Alex and Mitch tied up Ed and left him on the beach to get swept away by the tide. My joke about them murdering him isn't that outrageous now, is it? And this is fine to pair up with a story involving a dangerous rescue featuring someone nearly dying in similar circumstances, because Ed's story is theoretically funny.
The good news is these things float, but, you know, the tide could have taken me to Japan. I don't think this is funny at all.
Truer words have never been spoken, Jeff. And fade to Jesse posing in the ocean for some reason. The end. Next time on Baywatch, Jesse is immediately the worst lifeguard ever. Good job, Baywatch. She's a prisoner of love.